Welcome, Wade Allison. Now that was an awesome debut. Flyers come off a 2-1 victory in the skills competition, taking the Pittsburgh Penguins all the way to the shootout in a game where they were down majority of the game, but they were definitely in it. And after a previous 6-1 loss to the Capitals, it was really nice for the Flyers to respond. But overall, I want to talk about Wade Allison. A lot of people probably don't know that much about him beyond the little bit that people have seen so far, right, in pro hockey. For the average Flyers fan, I mean, for the most part, the guy would be an enigma. And not just because Wade Allison, not because he doesn't have the flashy numbers or anything. Like in the AHL already, within 8 games, he has 4 goals and 5 assists, right? So he's already made an immediate impact in the AHL, but it's really his history that is kind of, I can see how he can fall under the radar. If we want to go way back, Wade Allison was taken the same year as our favorite Carter Hart. Now, looking back at that draft, yes, there were great players available, but the Flyers had 3 second-round picks in that draft, and they definitely took advantage of them. Funny thing is that actually Wade Allison was one of them, right? So Wade Allison, Carter Hart, and Pascal Laberge. Now, Laberge is still trying to struggle, had injury issues going into the NHL, the AHL, and has since then struggled. Still has some impact and potentially maybe a really good AHL player, maybe an NHL player in the future, but we don't know. Wade Allison is the other guy of that story. Also, a right-handed shooter. A lot of the same skill sets that maybe you think Pascal Laberge would bring, only Allison, I think, is really special because I think he's gone under the radar and unfairly. If you look at his history through Western Michigan, I mean, every single year, outside of, I guess, his rookie year where he was just below a point per game, pretty much every game he's a point per game, but then dealt with injuries, had a good amount of them. At one point, he was one of the leading nominees for the Hobey Baker Award. If you're not aware of what that is essentially the best player in college hockey. Tanner Laczynski, who's on the Flyers, also was competing for that, had some injuries, but not to the same degree. Allison kind of missed a good amount of time. And if you look at his games, he didn't miss too many games overall, but kind of had this nagging injury to the last 2 years. Having said that, still essentially the best player on his team. So in my mind, watching him in development camp over these years, and again, I've watched him since his draft year, right? So he's 23 years old. I watched him at 18 come in and develop. I've always liked this kid. His attitude you saw today, very confident, very calm under pressure. Physical, has really good size, about 6'2", strong. We saw that today. And what a shot. I mean, the kid is a shooter. Most people don't think the Flyers have goal scorers. I say this all the time. Goal scorers are developed. I don't know if it projects to be a 40 goal scorer. I don't necessarily see that from him. But 20 to 30 goal scorer playing a physical role. I mean, we saw that today around the net. And, I like NAK a lot. But when you see a guy like Allison come in, it's not that it makes NAK irrelevant. I don't want to say that, and they don't even play the exact same role. But all of a sudden, you see how good Allison is. You see the names lined up in this roster, and it's like, the wings are getting full. So it's interesting because it's such a weird time right now where you don't really know how to evaluate. But I know everybody's high on Tanner Laczynski. I'm also high on him. I don't see Tanner Laczynski having the same ceiling as somebody like Wade Allison. Wade Allison, in my opinion, has potential to be a top 6 forward in the NHL. I don't know if he's going to be a top line forward. I don't necessarily see that, but maybe really complimentary. I mean, the same way Scott Hartnell was complimentary, right? Scott Hartnell was not a goal scorer, but he could score goals, right? I kind of see Allison as that, only probably a better shooter, a better skater than Scott Hartnell, more physical. I don't know if he's going to, I don't want to say more physical, actually. Hartnell was very physical. But he's going to bring a lot of those same elements. We saw that today. I don't see him going anywhere. I don't see him going back to the minors. I honestly thought once he got the call up, this would kind of be it for him. I think Laczynski is more of kind of not in the bubble, but he plays more of a bottom 6 role for the team, where Allison, I think, can really help offensively, especially in the very near future. He's already 23 years old. He's fully developed as a man. If you listen to an interview, actually, really good Flyers Daily with Bill Meltzer and Jason Martinez, they interviewed Chuck Fletcher, and if you listen to the way he was talking about Allison, they called him dominant at the AHL level, and I would agree. He's too good to be playing in the AHL. I don't expect him to go anywhere from here. I'm not saying he's going to light the world on fire, but he obviously had a really good game. And I would look for maybe next year to be his real rookie year, but he's gonna get people's attention. He probably should already be in the NHL, and I think there was a quote that JJ talked about that his coach was already saying he's an NHL player. I agree. I've been saying this for a while. Again, think about what I've been saying about Cam York. When I say this stuff, I'm typically not. It's not that I can't be wrong, but I'm saying it for a reason. I can always be wrong. Everybody can be wrong, and I'm not infallible like everybody else. But when I see certain elements of a kid, I mean, I'm not talking out of my butt, right? Like I didn't say Joel Farabee would make the Flyers 18 to 24 months before he did by accident. I looked at the kid's character, his personality. Again, did you see any issues with Allison jumping to the next level? He looked extremely comfortable there. He looked more than comfortable in the AHL. He was already, even from day one, he was already too good for the Phantoms. He was really there for precautionary reasons because his health has been an issue. And that is an issue, right? And you're going to take him up a notch. But I think it's a good sign. I think what we saw from Allison is really good. I mean, like I said, in the AHL, already 4 goals and 5 assists, 9 points in 8 games, while being a +9. He's not really struggling. There's not much of a reason. And I really think the Flyers are evaluating their roster. I think they see Allison as an NHL player. I don't suspect that they see him in the minors next year. And I think they're going to pencil him in. I think Lazinski as well. And we're going to see the Flyers expose some players. I mean, money is hard to take. So, the Flyers are going to probably choose to expose maybe Jake Voracek, which I didn't think would happen initially. But when you see the market and the way it's so tough to move around money, it only makes sense to kind of take that risk and hold on to your most valuable assets, which right now are players who are cost affordable. People like Scott Lawton. In the future, this will change, right? When the market changes again, Jake Voracek's going to become, it's going to take a couple years, but, players like him will be more valuable. And by then, a guy like Wade Allison will be way in his career. So get excited about Wade Allison. I think it's actually okay. He's probably better than most people realize. I'm not telling you he's going to be a star player immediately, but he could be much better than we realize immediately. Like, he could be an impact tomorrow. He could be an impact for the rest of the year. He could steal people's spot from the roster. You're already seeing it, right? Did he look like he didn't fit in? No, not at all. Right? He hopped in, confident, making jokes at the 2-squeeze water bottle thing. Like, the guy has no issues, and I've always seen that. If you watched him in development camp, he always felt like one of the best players there and one of the leaders of that group. And I saw that with Joel Farabee as well. I did see that with Cam York. You saw that with Travis Sanheim. Again, these are guys who have made the NHL. They usually step up and identify themselves relatively early. Even if I really like a guy, it doesn't mean I'll think that they're necessarily maturity-wise ready. Allison, I thought he was always ready. Lazinski, I think, is a little more of a bubble, but he's ready now. Plays a more defensive game, but Allison's got the defense as well. Let's say Lazinski's benefit is maybe his defense and his playmaking. Allison's going to be physical, shooting, power forward around the net, and potentially even a good defensive player down the line. I would say he's already pretty good for a guy his age, but he could hit that next level. So we should be open to that. And I think the Flyers are taking Allison very seriously. As long as he can stay healthy, he is a type of player that the Flyers really need. I mean, we were talking about going out and trading for a guy like this, but you see, he brings the energy, he brings the confidence, he works around the net. We haven't had Wayne Simmons here for a while, but Allison brings a lot of the same qualities that Wayne Simmons does. He's not the same type of player, but he's, again, more of a shooter, maybe a little less around the net, but I don't know. I mean, his hands are really good. So be excited. Be excited about Wade Allison. It's okay that the season's not going the way we want. The Flyers are still going to fight to the very end. It'll at least be interesting. And it's interesting to see where the future is. Again, this isn't a talent issue that we're watching with the Flyers. I'll say it over and over again. I don't care if people don't agree with me. You don't go from having essentially the same roster to collapsing because of talent. It's not a talent. You can say it's not the right mix. I don't even really know what that means. I honestly think that most of us just repeat stuff that we hear on TV until we kind of convince ourselves that it's reality. But majority of stuff, we don't even know what that means, that it's the right mix. Like, can you identify the player that's the wrong mix? the young ones that are developing, that's the wrong mix. Reality is most likely this team just needs more maturity. We have a tough coach. I don't know if kids can handle the type of criticism and the type of maybe the mind games that our coaching staff plays. Veterans can probably handle it a little bit better. We need more ownership. We need better play, more precision. I never want to see a month like March ever again, but you look at guys like Allison coming in the NHL. There's a lot of things to be excited about here. And again, he's not even the best prospect in the system. And you'll see he's going to have a very good effect on this team. And we still haven't even gotten to see Frost play for a while, right? We have guys in the minors that are developing. We have guys in college hockey that most of us don't get to watch. We forget about Jay O'Brien like he's nothing. But reality is he's going to come here and he's probably going to make the NHL when he's ready. And he's going to be a good player, whether people like it or not. I mean, most people probably gave up on Allison as well because of the injuries. But, I mean, you saw he came, not even an issue. So really like Allison, really like his game. He's a keeper. I see him being part of this core and probably a big part of this team. The personality is there. I think the Flyers will probably, if he does really well, they might feel comfortable maybe moving a winger. I don't know who that would be. I don't know what they're going to do. They don't really need to do much, to be honest with you, outside of fix their D. Add a couple veterans. None of that requires blowing up your team. None of what anybody... We don't need to blow up anything. We need to add. I say it all the time. We have plenty of assets to go out and get what we want. Want to free up cap space? We can do that. We can go out and overpay to do that, and we won't feel it much. We're rich. We're rich in assets. Doesn't mean we need to spend our money in panic, right? So we're going to do that precisely with precision. And I do trust Fletcher to do something and not something too much. And you have guys like Allison in the system. What if you trade Allison in a deal in a desperate play? You never find out what he is, and he's probably better than whatever you're bringing in. So let's use our patience a little bit. Let's get excited about guys like Allison, Lazinski. I think Allison's here to stay, and I think he's had a big impact. Try to stay excited and try to always stay gritty.